Well, we're back to rain. A couple of days of it. They're talking we could possibly get an inch in the next 2 days. Then we're supposed to get nice again, so yes, it'll be all right. So I got an order in today from Mann. Ordered another bag of pollen sub. I'm gonna try this brand because it was a little cheaper. I was trying to be thrifty. And summertime pollen is, to me, isn't near as important as my fall, spring, winter pollen when it's the only thing they have. So this will just be supplemental for the few that may need it. I assume I'm going to get a lot of pollen where my bees are going to be, but I do have a couple of smaller ones that do need some now. I've got a little bit of Ultra Bee left, so but I just don't like to be out of it and then order it and who knows when it gets here. So I also ordered this new body wash. If Axe body wash turns you into a logger, this makes you a beekeeper, I guess. It's supposed to really help keep the bees out of your hair. It's not really what it does, so don't anybody buy it and try it for that. It's honey banded. Bees move away from it. They use it for moving bees out of honey supers. I wanted it for if I get any more cutouts, like the one I had last year where all that crazy crap was in the back and I couldn't get in there to chase the bees. You can spray some of that back there and it'll drive the bees out. We got another Varroa tester that I sold the last one to Lori, and then she put it in her greenhouse and her greenhouse burnt down. So I like to have an extra one on hand in case I can't find mine, something happens to it, or somebody needs one. I can get it to them. Ordered some marking pens. Ordered a couple of yellows, that's this year's color, and a white that was last year's color, so I can, remark any of them that are lacking from last year. And I was pretty sure that I didn't have any pens, and then after I ordered them, I got in and found that I'd already ordered a yellow one last year, so I'd be ahead of the game. They didn't have my standard hive tool in stock, so they had this economy hive tool. It's a good thing they don't charge by the pound. It's pretty heavy, short. I don't know, it'll be a hive tool. If a guy's in a pinch, I never place an order without buying a hive tool. Maybe someday I will, but not yet. And there's still times I can't find one. So I've dug out my cloak boards to try to set up my Queen Right starter finishers. So this was a screened bottom board with a slide in it so that you could close it off, so I can just set this thing up here and not have to carry it around. You guys will get a better picture. So this board slides in, closes it off. I put another board across it so that I could set it on top of a box. So I set it on. I've got a double deep that's full of bees, lots of bees. Usually it's 2 combined colonies. And I've got the queen downstairs. I'm gonna leave her down there. Go through the colony, look for queen cells, make sure they haven't started any, knock any down that they have, take all the cat brood that I can find out of the bottom box, leave her with empty frames so she can lay. Then I put a queen excluder down. This cloak board goes on top of it, and then another queen excluder goes on it and another box. So when it's open like this, the bees can get from where the queen is downstairs upstairs and do their job. I put all those cap frames of brood in the upstairs, and I put as much pollen as I can find and a feeder, and I put a pollen patty up there. They're going to try to grow my queens. I want them to have everything they can get. So the whole idea with it is you've got a really strong colony here. But you come in and you close this off and you shut the upper box from the lower box. Now they're queenless. They don't have any way to make a queen. If you left it 3 days after putting the frames in with the cat brood, you know that there's no larvae in there that are young enough for them to use. Or I guess it'd be 4 days. then there's no chance of it. Now you're going to want to go through and check them periodically anyway, because you never know what's going to happen. I've had them just appear out of nowhere. But now the bees in this upper box have to go through the queen excluder to get out, but they have an entrance to get out. If the queen climbs out of the bottom box and up, she can't get in the top box. And yes, I had a queen a couple of years ago that did that every time I put a queen excluder on. She would climb up, I'm sure she was climbing up the outside and then going in the upper entrance and laying up there, because that's where she wanted to be. So we also don't want a virgin queen flying in here, which can happen. And then they've got a colony set and they tear down my queen cells. So now this colony in the top is hopelessly queenless. And I can drop a frame of eggs, a frame with my egg starts on it in there, and they will start drawing those out. Well, as soon as they get them started, I can open this up, and now they're back to being a big double deep colony. Well, now all the resources downstairs and all the bees from there can come up and help raise those queens. As soon as they've started those queen cells, they will continue to raise them, even though they're now a queen-right colony again. So it just gives you a lot more resources, and your cell starter doesn't get old. The first year I did it, where I shook a whole bunch of bees out of a whole bunch of colonies and made them super weak, shoved the bees in my cell starter, and man, it was rocking. Well, within a month and a half, those bees are old. Those summer bees are old. They don't want to draw queens the same way. They're starting to dwindle and die off, and now you got to start over again. And the whole depleting a number of colonies to try to make something work isn't working for me. I'm going to try to find better ways to do it when I can. So this is one of them, and it worked really well last year. I had 2 of them set up. So I've got the 2 cloak boards, getting them cleaned up, put a little Vaseline on the groove and the runners here that'll keep them from propolizing the darn thing shut, so it can still open and close. And then we'll try to get them set up first next week and start making some queens. So those are my projects for today. In the shop, cleaning, puttering, and trying to get ready for the sunshine. Oh, the other item that I forgot to mention that I got were these temporary queen strips. So they've got queen pheromone on them, and they can be very handy. They can actually save your colony if they're used right. So if you've got a colony that you're not sure that it's got a queen, you can't find any eggs, but you found an open queen cell, so there may be a virgin running around. She may have went on her mating flight, she may not, you don't know. If you can't get back and check on a real regular basis and get them a queen as soon as you realize she didn't make it back, you can throw one of these in there. And in my smaller nukes and mating nukes, I just used a part of one, just cut a piece off of it. They just need some queen pheromone. If they're getting the queen pheromone, they won't become a laying worker colony. There's nothing worse than getting into a nice colony and finding out they've gone laying worker, and the truth is they're dead. I've thrown and wasted lots of resources at those colonies and fixed very few. So anymore, if they've gone laying worker, as far as I'm concerned, they get shook out and they're done. So this can prevent that from happening. And if you do have a virgin queen running around and she goes on her mating flight, this will not affect her and the way she operates at all. She'll come back and start laying. You see good eggs, she's capping them right. These come out, they're good to go. So these are pretty good investment. Last year I bought a big pack of them, and I still have quite a few. They were supposed to be stored in the freezer. I stored them under the seat of my pickup all winter, and we're not that cold. So I don't know, how potent they still are. They probably are. They've been wrapped up in this plastic bag. They're probably fine, but for the cost of buying a few more, I thought it was worth it. I didn't buy the big pack this year though. Trying to save some money.